Hey folks, welcome to Movement Monday. We are your hosts, Ray Reyes and Hampton McCullough. Hampton, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We got Movement Monday here for Monday, August 5th, 2024, new month, first one of the new month. We'll go ahead and get started. Hampton, do you want to kick it off?
Okay, so last week's episode, we did an interview style episode where Ray interviewed myself, and we're going to do me interviewing Ray. So I
Very
have a
good.
couple questions here. I know that you and I have gone back and forth talking about your background and how you grew up. And I know we've talked a little bit about it in other episodes, but I kind of want you to dive a little bit deeper into that side of your life. So childhood, I know you said stuff about athletics and that such. So I want you to dive a little bit deeper into that.
All righty. Well, I'll go off of yours from last week, all the way from the beginning, and we'll go all the
Mhm.
way from the beginning.
Okay.
So, I am the oldest of three children, so I spent a lot of my time. I'm the oldest of three children with also a single mom. So, a lot of my childhood was being the oldest child and helping out around the house more with the kids while my mom worked. My mom worked at sometimes three jobs, other times two jobs, and then she finally got it down to one as we got older. Very hard worker, taught me a lot about work ethic. But with that came, some consolation for me in that I didn't do a lot of activity. I was also kind of a sheltered child in my childhood, so I spent a lot of time indoors, and I don't think that that was my mom's choice. I think that was just how I took life. So I was very much a couch potato growing up. If I'm being honest, my mom punished me by making me go outside and play. Um, and I was that was my level of activity. I didn't like to go out. So, as one be led to believe, I was, a chubbier kid, overweight, and I struggled with that for a good portion of my childhood. It wasn't until I was about, in my junior year of high school where I started to slim up and grow into my weight. So, between my junior year and my senior year of high school, I grew almost a full foot and maintained the same weight. So, I lost a lot of weight, and that kind of uh, you know, started to structure where I wanted to go with my life once I realized that I could be thinner. I didn't always have to be the fat kid. It changed a lot of things. In my early teens, or my late teens actually, I became a club promoter, and I did a lot of dancing in clubs. My part of my job as a club promoter was to get the dance floor going. So we did a lot of dancing, which you want to talk about movement. That was
Yeah.
very, very involved in getting the movement in on the dance floor and working up, that heart rate and keeping myself healthy. So I think that during my late teens, a lot of my exercise routine, without me realizing it, was just dancing, and so I'm grateful for that. When I was in my probably early 20s, I started working at the YMCA in Montecito, California. So, if you're familiar, that's where Ellen lives. And it was a part time job. And that was when I kind of first got bit with the gym environment. So, technically, I've been working in a gym environment off and on for 25 years. Um, and so, yeah. And so then when I moved to Washington, I think dug in deeper to that. I worked at a gym here, Valley Total Fitness, for 2.5 years, but as a desk person, I did some dabbling in personal training there. And that was, kind of just got my feet wet in what that looked like. Being in that environment makes you want to be more fit, be more, exercise more. It's just an exposure thing. And then, fast forward to 2020, where I was stuck at home and I realized that I had some free time. So I became a certified trainer, then became a coach at Orange Theory. Really, because I wanted to be a coach, I became a personal trainer. So I don't do the training part so much as much as I do group fitness. That's where my passion's at. I just wanted to help people share and kind of help guide those that think that just because you were overweight at one time, you're going to be overweight for the rest of your life. But there's also different ways about it. And then you couple that in with, a stint in doing keto for, almost 3 years. in 2019, I had lost a bunch of weight there, wanted to couple that, wanted to make sure that I maintained a healthy weight. And it just all came together, became my passion for sharing health and fitness. So in a nutshell, that's kind of where I came from. That's how I got to where I'm at.
Right. I love all that. Okay, so based off of everything you just said, this is a different question because you kind of tied in what I was going to ask you next. So I have a question, and to word it correctly, how does your childhood and how you grew up play into how athletic Cruz is?
Ooh, I try very hard not to live vicariously through my son. It's a forefront of focus for me of that. Don't have him do things because I didn't get to do them, but
Mhm.
also at the same time try to give him all the opportunities that I possibly can because he is in a completely different environment than I was when I was growing up. We have, we're better off than I was as a kid just based on how things worked out for me in my life. He's got two parents in the house, just being able to, be fortunate enough to give him all the opportunity to try all the sports that he wants to try. I was very, very set on having him start sports as early as he can. I am fortunate that I have family members that have kids that are just a bit older than Cruz and that have tried different sports. Soccer is not one that any of my other family members locally do. I do have a nephew in California that plays soccer, but that wasn't necessarily an influence. But soccer was the earliest that I could get him into a sport at 4 years old. So he
Right.
couldn't start baseball until he was almost 6 because he's a late in the year
Oh,
birthday. So I started him as early as I can in T-ball. And so baseball and T-ball, he's done some indoor soccer. He now plays flag football as well, just for a month out of the year because that's how the season works out. But it was more of a giving him an opportunity to see what he likes, and it just so happened to be that he's naturally athletic. And to be honest, I don't know where he gets the natural athleticism from because it's not for me. I still struggle sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, don't embarrass yourself in front of these kids. But my wife did play some volleyball, in her high school days, but she didn't do it very much. So she's got some athleticism in her, but definitely not the level that he has. And I think it's just his drive. And so my goal now is to try to feed that and make sure that he has everything he has to support his level of focus and make sure that he, can do everything that he works hard to achieve.
I love that. I think Cruz got enough of the athletic side for both of you guys. He's doing great. I watch all your videos you post about like the corner kick one the other day. I love that.
No,
All right.
and it's those moments that for me with him, I'm in awe of my 10-year-old of what he can do. Sometimes I'm like, but you can't be good at everything. And then he goes and it's like, okay, we'll definitely find something that you're not good at. We're gonna get there at some point. And then he'll
Right.
be bad at it for like, for the beginning of it, and then he figures it out, and it's like, okay, well, I guess we'll keep working to try to
Yeah.
find something that you have to try for. But
Some
um, you
people
know,
are just born
yeah.
for it, honestly.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I hate saying that because I know that, there's a struggle for a lot of kids to be good at things. My oldest was always great at everything. My middle one worked a little bit harder to be great at it, but ended up being great. And Cruz just kind of has a natural ability. So it's like, okay, I guess here we are. Let's just keep going and working with
right.
the
I love
tools that we
it.
got. So yeah,
You gotta love that.
yeah.
Okay, what is your inspiration in the fitness industry and healthy lifestyle?
It goes a lot back to being an overweight kid, battling being overweight the majority of my life. I'm still not where I'd like to be. And I know that, a good majority of Americans aren't where they want to be, health wise, physical wise. There's always a little bit more fat that we want to lose. And then for me, I know that like once I start to lose weight, it almost becomes an addiction to be smaller and smaller and smaller. It probably wasn't until, a good 10, maybe even 15 years into it that I realized that sometimes I need to recognize that certain people's body styles aren't a proper goal for me because I'm just not built like with a small frame. I'm going to have a broad shoulder base no matter what I do. And so I need to work towards building that type of body and stop following people who were skinny and got big, and more follow people that were big and maintained a fit size. And so it's a lot of sharing what I know, where I've been through, what I've done, the experiences that I've had. I've done keto. I've done a fat loss boost that I tried, which I still love, with a 2-week fat loss boost, and it's a program that I follow. I've done kettlebell workouts. I've done group fitness. I've done full on gym workouts. I've had gym buddies, and so I have a lot of experience. And so my whole thing is I want to be a resource for people and help them, just like I do with every other aspect of where I have experience in my life, whether it's leadership, whether it's the amount of parenting that I've done. That I'm not a perfect parent, but also if I can help somebody answer some questions, I will do that. But it just goes along with helping people to understand that it's okay to feel like you're struggling, but help get them to that next level. And so being a fitness coach encompasses all that, because it helps you encourage people. It reminds you to be, kind and respectful, that everybody comes from a different place. A lot of times I get reminders of that you don't know what people are going through, because different injuries happen to different people at different stages of their lives. You can be the most athletic person in the whole world and be battling injuries, but also, I've been watching the Olympics. You look at Simone Biles, things that she went through. You look at Sonia Lee, things that she went through, and just those types of athletes who battle through and don't use their ailments as an excuse to not keep fighting forward. And so I'm actually at a heightened level of inspiration right now, watching the Olympics and how these folks work through their stuff, and just knowing, hearing a lot of their stories about how they got to where they're at and how they battle through, and how, just even if they get injured in warm-ups and then they work through, and then you see them at the end, and it's like they're also smart enough to know, I can either push myself through this and then recover later properly, or I need to not push myself and take myself out and allow myself to recover, whether it be mentally, whether it be physically, or whatever the ailment may be. So just, sharing my experience and trying to not come off as a know-it-all, but also more of a resource of, I will tell you as much as you want to hear from me. And that's kind of where, fitness coaching feeds me. That's where supplementation and nutrition fits for me, because I know a lot about how to properly diet. I don't always practice a proper diet, but I know exactly what I'm not doing when I'm gaining weight. So, and so it's real. I want to be that real person to people.
And I wouldn't even count it as a know-it-all coming off. It's because you've tried all the things that you just listed.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Exactly.
I don't think you're a know-it-all, and I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a hard thing to convey, because I feel like a lot of times, I have a tendency to want to share everything, and sometimes people don't want to hear everything, and so I still struggle sometimes with knowing where people stop wanting to hear, and so I'll start to cut myself off and start to feel embarrassed of, okay, I've said enough. Let me know if you want to hear more, but that's just my nature. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, this is your last question. I know we've touched base on this in a previous episode, but we might have some new people watching now. What are your strengths and weaknesses?
My weaknesses, I will start with, because you always start with the weak and finish strong, right? Sugar is my weakness. I love sugar. You hear addicts talk about, they always acknowledge that they're always going to be an addict. It's a matter of working through every day of not giving into their addiction. And I feel like sugar meets that for me. I love sugar. I love ice cream. I love chocolate. I love all the stuff that is not healthy for me, because I do not burn it the proper way. I do give myself bits and pieces of dark chocolate as much as I can, just to try to, fulfill that little bit of enjoyment there. But also I have to be very careful not to indulge, because once I fall off, I jump off hard. My strengths, I do think that I'm a pretty good listener. And so I can listen to how people are hearing things and then respond accordingly. And I've gotten a lot better about knowing what people want to hear and what they don't want to hear, relating to people. I'm a universal person, so I can connect with, 90% of the people that I come in contact with, and there's just some people that don't want to be connected with. But it also, I take a lot of pride in being, a versatile person and being able to talk to anybody and relate to almost anybody. But also, working very hard on maintaining my person and not trying to be somebody else for who they are, but having them respect me. And so I've learned over the years that I get a lot of respect by being more real and more genuine to who I am, but also letting them know that I have weaknesses and sharing those weaknesses, but also we can overcome. So I'm very confident in, sharing certain things with certain people, and then there's other things that people don't need to hear, and so I enjoy, connecting with so many different people on different levels, and just being, having different contacts and different connections with so many people different across just the general contact that I come in contact with. So, and that's important as a fitness coach because we get all different walks of life in a group fitness studio, and so I have built a lot of relationships with the different clients there just because I can find ways to connect to different people on different levels.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, do you want to grab a product behind you and talk about it
Do you have one in mind?
together? Honestly, the Smart.
The Smart. Alrighty, let's go with the Smart. So
I'm not sure if we talked about that one, but I
I
love
don't
that
think we
one.
have. So the Smart is one of our newer products. It is our Nootropics, and so this is part of our designer line. This is another one. I can't get that to show properly. So
It is.
there.
It's awesome.
There we go. So this is nootropics works for that brain health. So we talk a lot about physical health, but brain health is more important as we get older. The memory starts to go. Just the brain works differently, and so you need brain food just like you need energy for that body. You need energy for the brain. So this is great. Again, it's part of our designer line, so that means it comes unflavored. And so we have those flavor fusion options to mix in with that, or you can mix it in whatever drink you choose. You can have it just with water or whatnot. So it's pretty awesome. I take this every morning on my way to the gym with my energy. So
Yeah, me too.
I have to start my day off by feeding my brain because we all know that sometimes mornings can be tough. So
It's no flavor. You can add it to anything. I do it in my OG energy, and I can definitely tell because I don't drink it on the way to the gym and I have it later that everything is like dull, like
yeah,
colors. And I don't know if you have it really early, so your
yeah.
eyes are barely awake, but I have it, if I have it later in the day, I'm like, I can tell everything's so much brighter and like brain fog is gone, which
So
I
is
need.
this the one that Pearson mixes for herself?
Yeah, she has a little bit of it too.
Yeah,
Yeah, and she mixes all the she likes both the juices of the designer line, and she has Optimate and Smart.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and for reference, for those that didn't catch previous episodes, Pearson is Hampton's 3-year-old daughter. So, it's safe for everybody from your youngest kid up to your oldest adult. I sent I sent actually 3 canisters to my mom, one for her, one for my grandmother, and one for my grandfather because my grandparents are in their 90s, and
Mhm.
I want to try to keep their brains as healthy as I can. They're getting up there, and Lord knows they need the help with that brain food. So yeah.
All right, you want me to wrap it up?
Go ahead.
All right. So if you're new here, thank you for watching. We'd appreciate it if you subscribed, liked, and shared this video. And comment down below if you have any interest in us interviewing or have a topic that you want us to talk about. We'll remind you to drink your water, take your vitamins, and get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. Take it easy.
Bye.